Last week, the 400 Thunder kick-started the season big time with outstanding performances in Top Fuel that saw Aussie Darren Morgan up against American Corey McLenithan in the final round. Victory only just went to the American as the whole of his four-car team celebrated. This week, we're back in beautiful Sydney with our focus on the Pro Slammers, formerly known as Top Door Slammers. We now join the action with the start of qualifying session number 1 with a field of 16 cars trying to grab a spot in the ever-elusive Top 8. First pair up in this first session for qualifying, it is Andrew Searle, also known as Wile E. Coyote in the Acme Composite Supplies Mustang. First time back in a car for 13 years for this man. He's taking on the Sydney local, Charlie McCarley, in that absolutely gorgeous Plymouth Duster. The RPMs come up, high revving methanol engines. And Andrew Searle, not bad for his first pass back. A 6:36 though, still probably leaves a little bit of work to be done as far as the times go. We do expect pretty solid times in the high 5-second zone from these cars. Frank Mamone in the far lane, Pat Carboni in the near lane. The Sydney sider versus the West Aussie. And clean greens on both sides. Oh, Frank Mamone up on two wheels. That will get his attention, I guarantee it, but Pat Carboni goes through a 6:55, still not quite where they need to be on this car. Jeff Grattan, far side of the racetrack, the Red Chrysler taking on Bill Goonan. And again, a good race side by side for the Pro Slammers. Grattan goes through for a 6:32, a 6:48 for Bill Goonan. Solid runs for those guys, but again, still a lot of work to be done. It does seem like it's a pretty challenging track out there at the moment. Rob Taylor from Victoria, the Mad Professor, taking on the West Aussie in Pinot Priolo. Putting greens on both sides of the racetrack, but Priolo having to call on all his sprint car experience there. The car getting way sideways. A 6:34 for Robin Taylor. Not a bad pass for him. 6:53 for Priolo. A fair way off his high 5-second form that we've seen out of him. Ben Bray now, the Century Batteries car, taking on Paul Canuli in that beautiful PC Crane-sponsored machine. Left, right, up, down. It was all over the place for those two races and very unrepresentative runs. You can see Paul's brother John there casting his eye over things. Another racer under this 400 Thunder series. And Peter Kapiris now near side of the racetrack taking on Mark Valeri in the Holden Trade Club Monaro. Problems for Valeri, but Peter Kapiris again gets it to about 3/4 track and then rolls out of the throttle. Not sure what's going on for these guys, but a 6:13, it's good enough for the provisional number 1 qualifying spot as at the moment, but still a lot of work to be done for these guys. You can see for Valeri, spins the tyres, the car gets way out of shape, and that was pretty much the run done for him. Peter Kapiris, no visible problems up until this point, but he does drop the parachutes a little bit early, so maybe a few problems on board. John Zappia in the white car taking on Grant O'Rourke in the Pontiac on the far side of the track. You hear these cars coming to stage, build the RPMs to about 5,500, and then they'll drop the clutch and they're set for a start. Big wheel stand for John Zappia over near the wall. That's not going to help his cause whatsoever. And Grant O'Rourke, our first 5-second run of the weekend, of 5:99 at just over 390 kilometres per hour. The top 8 as they stand after the first session. Well, it's not much to write home about. Grant O'Rourke pacing the field, but great to see Andrew Searle back there after 13 years out of the car.
Yeah, it's a pretty surreal moment at the moment. I mean, you know, I never thought that I would be back here again. I sort of never wanted to, and it was just something, a spare of the moment thing at the Winter Nationals this year, and here we are, like 4 or 5 months later. We're all tired at the moment. We've all put a lot of hours in, and the proof is the car. So, you know, even though that we haven't run anything fast yet, it's got the potential there. So, you know, I'm hoping that I can be a force again. But things have changed, and 620s don't cut it. But you know, the parts and the computer techniques and everything have changed now, so that makes it easier, or the ability to go fast.
First pair for this second round of qualifying, it is Mark Valeri in the Holden Trade Club Monaro taking on the Century Batteries Corvette. Still basically a new car for Ben Bray on the far side of the racetrack. Still trying to iron out the bugs in that one, but what a fantastic looking car it is. Oh, it's not behaving itself whatsoever. Picks up the front wheels and bounces left and right. No problems for Mark Valeri in that car owned by Maurice Fabietti, but only a 6.17 for him. Jeff Wilson taking on Paul Cannulli in this second pair. Paul Cannulli far side of the racetrack in that orange PC Crane sponsored car. And Jeff Wilson up on two wheels and he manages to save it. He keeps it shiny side up, but not by much. That was about as far out of shape as you ever want to get in a pro slammer, let me tell you. The car, you can see, leaves very cleanly, but around about there, the back starts to wash out. Jeff catches it, and as he does, he doesn't want to go over into Cannulli's lane. Up on two wheels. It probably looks more spectacular from the outside than it did from the inside, but still, good drive job there from Jeff Wilson. Pino Priolo closest to camera taking on Jeff Braddon now. What a fantastic looking car that is. The budget forklifts car out of West Australia. Clean greens on both sides. Braddon's car, again, out in front, picks up the front wheels, and he improves, but not by much. A 6.23 that time around. He remains in that number 5 qualifying spot. John Zappia and Andrew Searle now. John Zappia, the old master. He's been doing this for so many years and he knows this car inside out. What can he produce here? And straight to the top of the tree with a 5.92 at just over 398 kilometres per hour. Andrew Searle, unfortunately for him, cannot improve. Next up, the first of our 5-second runners for the weekend, Grant O'Rourke. He's in the near lane. He's taking on Peter Kapiris, the former national champion. Both cars walking around ever so slightly, and what a good side-by-side race. Peter Kapiris, he's got his hands full in the braking area, but a 5.99 with a 7, only 7 thousandths of a second behind O'Rourke. That slots him into number 3. And, well, the big news is Ben Bray at the bottom of the qualifying list. He's down to his last shot to get into this 8-car field.
How good is it to see this guy back in the 400 Thunder? Ben Bray, you've had a long time out of the series. You've been back for a couple of meets, but gee, it's good to have you back, and especially here at Sydney.
Yeah, no, it's great to be back. You know, a long time out of the seat, and to come back in a new car is amazing. Great sponsor like Century to keep supporting me. All my sponsors have supported me to here, my family, my friends, so, you know, let's just hope I can have a successful career from here on.
All right, tell us about the equipment that you're running here at the East Coast Nationals.
Yeah, well, as you can see behind me here, that's my 1979 Murray Anderson built Century Batteries Corvette. It's only done 10 runs now down the quarter mile. It's been 600, so, you know, with a bit of luck this weekend, I can get in the 5-second range, and, you know, that'll be pretty cool for me. Like I said, I haven't done a lot of runs in the last 2 years, a brand new car, so I'm slowly getting back on my feet, and the team, you know, the support and all that we've got behind us is unbelievable, and we just want to do good.
So Ben Bray down to his last shot to qualify for this field. The number he needs is a 6.48 or quicker. You can see he just rolled the beams ever so slightly there. That will eat into his elapsed time. But Pat Carboni on the other side of the racetrack. Good run for him, 6.29, but a 5.98 for Ben Bray. He gets into the field on the last shot. He's in there solidly as well in the 5-second zone. And Ben Bray will be absolutely ecstatic with that, as will the rest of the team. Pat Carbone, it was a valiant effort on the far side of the racetrack, a 6.29. It gets him into the top 8 for the time being, but there's still a lot of quick cars left to come in this third qualifying session.
Gee whiz, what a relief. That's much better.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's, we tried really hard, made a few changes, finally got it down there, number 2. Over there.
Goodbye.
Next pair up, Jeff Wilson taking on the man from ACT, Johnny Rosso, in that absolutely gorgeous red Camaro. Currently both outside the field. The bump spot now has come down to a 6:34. That is the number 8 qualifier is a 6:34. John Rosso looks like the only one left with a shot to do it, and a 6:60 is not going to make it. And Jeff Wilson, he had his hands full with that silver Corvette. You can see the crews standing on the start line thinking, not quite sure what happened there, but we'll come back next time and have another go. Andrew Searle taking on Paul Cannulli now. Searle in the near lane, the Acme Composite Supply Mustang. It would be huge if he could make this qualified field for race day this afternoon. Big problems for Cannulli, but it looks good for Searle, and it is good. A 5:94. That's more than good. That bumps him all the way up to the number 2 qualifying spot. Running out of the break camp this weekend, that is a huge vote of confidence for Andrew Searle. You've got to remember, this guy has been out of a car for 13 years. He's been off racing boats. He's been doing other things. So stepping back into a 2,500 horsepower pro slammer and getting into the field in the number 2 spot, that is an incredible effort, and I tip my cap to him because, Andrew Searle, you've been away for a while, but you haven't lost any of that flair. Charlie McCarley on screen now. He will be taking on Pino Priolo, the man from Western Australia, the man who really raised some eyebrows last season. Some very good performances. And, McCarley, it was a good run, but he's over the centre line. He hit those timing blocks. That's an instant disqualification. The time would have been good enough to get him into the field as well. That is a heartbreaker. It was a 6:15, but he did take out those timing cones, and as a result, that run is disqualified. Rob Taylor now in the Mad Professor car. Fantastic looking piece of machinery that is, up against the equally gorgeous car of Bill Goonan. Two relative newcomers to Top Door Slammer. Not a lot of experience, but plenty of desire to go quick here. The bump spot as it stands a 6:17. That is a fantastic run for Rob Taylor, a 6:26, but unfortunately just misses the field. Just misses the field. Frank Mamone now taking on Jeff Gradden, 2 local Sydney races. Very quick, a 5:94 bumps him all the way up the qualifying list. He's now in the top half of the field, and that right there is his first 5-second run. Fantastic effort, and you can see it's hugs and high fives all around. Let's have a look at the replay for Frank Mamone. He is known as one of the wild men of drag racing, and there's a reason for it. He knows how to get these cars to the finish line. It's a brand new combination for him. They've taken some time to get the thing sorted. They've been through trials and tribulations, and that 5-second run will be so sweet for that team. Peter Kapiris now taking on Mark Belleri. The final run of this qualifying session, the last of our qualifications before we head into race day. Big problems for Kapiris over near the centre line, and Belleri, a very nice run, 5:88 on the last run of qualifying, takes the number 1 qualifying spot. John Zapier is nowhere to be seen in this qualifying session, and as a result, he won't be able to defend that number 1 spot. Mark Belleri takes the number 1 spot with a 5:88. Spectacular effort for the Holden Trades Club Monaro. You can see he had to do a little bit of driving there, but he's a very experienced driver, and he will lead us into race day here in Sydney. What a quality field. Only 1 car not in the 5-second zone, and all the big names present and accounted for. Time to get serious. It's the first round of eliminations for the Pro Slammers here at Sydney Dragway. And remember, the first trophy is on offer for the 400 Thunder series here for these guys as well. First pair up, Ben Bray and Frank Mamone. Mamone on the far side of the racetrack. But he takes the win, a solid run of 6:25, a little bit off what we saw from him in qualifying. Frank Mamone had all sorts of problems, rolls across the line for an 8-second pass. You can see the disappointment on the faces of the team there. Ben Bray, massive hole shot as well. Had almost 3.5 tenths of a second on the start line over Frank Mamone, and that was all it took. He was on through and gone. Mamone never really in it. Next pair up, it is Jeff Gradden, who was a recent winner here at Sydney Dragway just last season. He's taking on Mark Balleri, his first season in this car, driving for Morris Fabietti, the Holden Trade Club Monaro. .589, second quickest run we have seen all weekend long. Remember, he already had the quickest run that we'd seen, and a 589 absolutely backs up that performance, really vindicating Morris Fabietti's idea to put Mark Balleri into this seat, and he is proving that he has made the right decision, Mark Balleri, that is. You can see clean and straight all the way through to the finish line. This team is really becoming a threat on race day. Mark's turned into such a good young driver, hasn't he? He seems to hit his shift points. He keeps it in the centre of the group. How easy does that make your job?
Oh, a hell of a lot easier. You know, I wasn't doing a good job of driving it the last few years, and that's why Mark's in the seat.
Andrew Searle on the start line now, taking on Grant O'Rourke. First time in an elimination run for 13 years for Andrew Searle. And problems for O'Rourke. Never even gets off the start line. Andrew Searle is going to take the win in his first event back. A 6:36, not what we would have expected from him, but still very sharp on the Christmas tree. 0.70 on the tree, which means he's 0.07 of a second away from perfect. O'Rourke just never even moved. I'm not sure if he knew he had a problem before that run started. He brought the RPMs up on the start line, but whatever the problem was, it meant that he couldn't complete that run, and Andrew Searle is on his way to the semi-finals. Peter Kapiris lining up now, the multi-time former national champion. He will take on John Zappia, who has won 8 consecutive national titles. This is a big matchup. Kapiris out in front. He had Zappia, and a big boom up for John Zappia. Who got there? I don't even know. It was side by side at the finish line. John Zappia takes the win, but it was at a cost. He did some big damage to that car. You can see Peter Kapiris just shakes the tyres ever so slightly, gets over near the centre line. That's just enough to let John Zappia through. He gets past him, but right about there, he lifts the supercharger off the top of that motor, and he just coasts across for the win.
We got the win, so now we're just going to put trusty old Frankenstein engine back in. We had it in last weekend to race the turbos in Perth. We put the fresh one in. Unfortunately, we dropped the valve, so we're going back to the old spare engine. And hopefully we'll get it done in time, and we'll be back out there for second round.
It's a race against time, and there is literally all hands on deck at the moment, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. And normally I'm not doing as much work as I am at the moment, but I've just got to keep moving, and you know, once it settles down, then we can just let them continue on with the normal maintenance.
So here are your semi-final matchups that will be coming up after the break. Mark Balleri taking on Ben Bray, and John Zappia taking on Andrew Searle. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the 400 Thunder series here at Sydney Dragway. Semi-final time now for Pro Slammer. And what a matchup we've got to kick things off. It is Mark Balleri taking on Ben Bray, two of the young guns of the Pro Slammer category, and they are looking to put on a show here in Sydney.
You seem to struggle, mechanically with the car in the early qualifications, but since then you've really found your stride, and really, this car's on song now.
Yeah, qualifying, the first two qualifiers made some bad choices, trying to get greedy. Me and Dad normally sneak up on it and be a little bit softer on the first run and then chase it later. We thought, stuff it while Zap's running as fast as he has, let's try and chase him down early. And we overstepped the mark and backed it down for the third run, got in the field, and now we'll keep stepping it up and try and outrun Mark.
And for Mark Balleri, he's racing for Morris Fabietti, first season in the Holden Trade Club Monaro, and he's really looking to, solidify Morris Fabietti's decision to put him into this car. A lot of people raised some eyebrows and said, well, how come Morris doesn't want to drive anymore? Morris himself said it's because Mark can do a better job, and, well, Mark is looking to prove that now. As the cars come towards stage, you'll hear them bring the RPM up to around about 5,500. There's a lot of horsepower on board with these cars, anywhere between 2,500 to 3,000 horsepower, depending on who you talk to. They're manually shifting the gears. It's an impressive effort. Clean greens both sides. Oh, big problems! Big problems for Valeri. Gives the wall a very, very solid hit there. That will be enough to disqualify him, and Ben Bray will take home the win, but that was a very solid hit for Mark Valeri into the concrete wall.
Oh, mate, look, you know, Mark's been around a long time now, done a lot of laps in cars, and his dad's car now in this car. To get those parachutes out under those circumstances is absolutely crucial. And for Mark to get him out under those circumstances is amazing. But he got him out, it pulled the car back straight again. If not, mate, that thing would have been on his roof for sure.
Well, after the drama of the first semi-final, we move on to the second now. It was almost forgotten that we had to run this race, but John Zapier and Andrew Searle, this promises to be a good one. I know we've touched on it a couple of times throughout the show, but Andrew Searle, he has been out of the seat for 13 years. He stepped straight back into this. It's virtually a brand new car. New body on this chassis. The chassis used to belong to Ben Bray, and he finds himself in a semi-final up against the biggest name in door slammer racing in 2015. It is John Zapier. This guy has been virtually unbeatable for the last decade. An incredible run of success that he's looking to continue into the 400 Thunder era as well. But Andrew Searle is renowned for being quick on the Christmas tree. Keep your eye on that red Mustang on the far side. Oh, red light. 001. 1,000th of a second from perfect for Andrew Searle. Hands the win to John Zapier. It's a heartbreaking way to end it for Searle, really, but Zapier earned it in the end, a 5.95. It's a solid run, and he'll go through to the final to take on Ben Bray, Searle's teammate. In fact, Ben Bray's back on the start line now. Let's catch up with him and get his thoughts on this weekend.
Yeah, well, I'm a little bit like Andrew. I've got myself a butter knife, and John's got himself a good 44, so I guess the facts of life are I rely on my driving ability. Dad can tune anything, I know that, so I put faith in my team. I got behind me. I got a great car. A little bit of luck, the track conditions come to me and get away from him.
But, you know, the track was different because it had been a prep track rather than a track from other vehicles, traffic and tyres and that. So that's always a factor, and it shook a little bit on that one. The run before was smooth, so let's just hope we can have a smooth run in the final and make it a good race for the final.
Final round time now for the Pro Slammers. Our attention right now is on this racing surface. John Zapier, the 8-time national champion, taking on Ben Bray, a guy who, well, he's no stranger to winning championships in his own right. He's got 3 under his belt, 2 in the door slammer class, 1 in the alcohol category as well. So a very experienced racer on that side of the track too. But John Zapier, he has been insurmountable over the last couple of years. Just an incredible string of seasons that he has put together, and he's done it on the back of a very, very stable crew and a very, very good race car. Can he do it again here in Sydney and take home that first trophy for 400 Thunder? Clean greens on both sides of the track, but John Zapier stamps his dominance on this field with low ET of the weekend, 576 at a whopping speed over 400 kilometres per hour. That is a massive run from John Zapier. Ben Bray gave it a good try, but a 632 was never going to do it against the might of John Zapier and that Fuchs Lubricants team. Incredible effort from John Zapier, and you can see the crew, they are over the moon. This is a new era for Australian drag racing, and they have just taken home the first trophy from this 400 Thunder series. Having a look at the replay, you can see Ben Bray was never really in this. John Zapier was out in front. He was second off the start line, but that was the only place he was going to lose it. By half track, this one was over. Zapier was out in front, and that's all she wrote.
Oh, it's just such a relief to get it done and to win the first 400 Thunder race. Fantastic.
You had to beat one of the best too.
Yeah, you guys got to watch Ben. You know, he's good on the tree and a bit younger on the reaction times, but All I know is we got the job done. It didn't shake. I pedalled it and then thought, what did I do that for? I didn't need to, but it sort of moved around a bit, but we got the job done.
Fantastic.
Don't forget, we've got Pro Bike coming up on next week's show. All the action from 400 Thunder here at Sydney Dragway, so don't miss it. Well, congratulations to John Zappia, the winner of the first Pro Slammer race under the 400 Thunder banner. Join us again next week for all the action from here at Sydney Dragway. We'll see you next time.